Hello, everyone. This is Liz from Knowledge Return, where we will continue reading from the book, The Ego is a Mother. And this is part three reading, and we'll be reading from the sections you see on the screen. The next section we're in is the ego as the person I am. When the ego presents itself as the person, it is like comparing a light bulb to the sun. It will shine bright, but with conditions. You will think that you are authentic, accomplished, or unaccomplished in society. However, as soon as adversity arises and goes against who you are or your beliefs, what do? In this situation, I'm not talking about the physical adversity to your body. This is more about verbal injury or disagreements. An example would be someone using disparaging words against you. The ego's defense mechanism handles it with anger, humiliation, doubt, gaslighting, or violence. It uses those mechanisms to maintain the false light, the false sense of who they believe they are as a person. The counter experience is being our true, authentic selves. When we are in our authentic energy, our true light, we have no choice but to shine. Our true light shines like the sun. When people are attracted by the true self-light, they do not die like moths to a flame or light bulb, but they are themselves transformed. You are unapologetic about living your authentic self. Also, that also means that there's no need to defend it or be insecure about it. When you live in your light authentically, you live in love. You exist in a place of love. You exist in spirit. The ego without. Just like in who we are as people, the tactics of the ego are pervasive throughout all aspects of our society. The ego in our rituals, religions, laws, societies, and beliefs. If any, and I mean any, of these areas seek to demean, suppress, separate, subjugate, or harm any individual or group of people, the ego was present in its creation. For any system that believes it needs to deploy these types of tactics on people, it is rooted in fear or loss of something. The ego has permeated outwardly and is present in our society, religion, laws, governments, countries, cultures. Many of the ideas and practices are presented as protections and security measures. Today, in our society, the ego shows up in our status, influence, control, and power. Our humanity has changed drastically since the first humans, and those protections and security measures need to be evaluated, updated, and changed. We will see rules, laws, rituals that tend to exclude, eliminate, distance, and segregate people. When the ego is present in creating societies, status and power is its basis. Therefore, it has to protect it with fear, suppression, and subjugation. When the true self is present in creating societies, it recognizes that every individual has a value, a purpose, a need. The individual is not constant and changes. Therefore, the society is not constant and changes. It allows for change and enables change. The rules and laws are created to guide, protect, and remember. The non-egoic society is not so rigid and protective of its rules and laws that it cannot change to consider new ones for its evolving society. Why does the ego use fear? So, why does the ego use fear? Simple. To protect itself. To protect the body. To protect its ideas. To protect its personalities, its image. To protect its representation, its status in society. To protect its beliefs. To protect material things. To protect. Before moving on, it must be stated that the ego is neither good or bad. It's just a tool. It's just like the biological tools of our hands and eyes and mouth, or tools that we create to help us in this experience. You need to learn how to use it. It does serve a purpose as we navigate through this life. It's just that now the ego is so negatively prevalent in so many things in our daily life that it's time to remember, understand, and correct so that we can move forward. How does the ego use fear? The ego is a mind or thought concept. So when the ego is protecting the body, we may have a heightened sense of our surroundings. This is a biological aspect, but it's also tied to memories and thoughts that caution based on past experience. If there are known, unknown, or harmful substances that may harm our body, we may decide not to eat it, especially if it was known that someone died or was negatively impacted. It's a warning to be cautious and skeptical. Ideologies, ideas, and concepts. When the ego is challenged on its ideologies, ideas, and concepts, and the response is anger, aggression, or violence, you are dealing with a negative ego mind. In this case, the ego cannot let go or even consider something different. And therefore, it must protect the idea or concept at any cost. When it's understood that the ego is a tool, and when something new or different challenges your concepts and ideologies, you can choose to subdue the ego in order to take in new or different information. This is not to say that you will change your ideologies, but you don't hold on to them so tightly that you have to protect them with aggression, anger, and hate. When fear is not ruling you, you can not only defend your ideologies, but you can also consider new ones. Personality, and image. When the ego is ruling your personality or image, it can have a positive or negative presenting effect. I use the term presenting because the ego is not the true self. When the egoic personality or image is challenged, the fear mechanisms like aggression, control, and obsession, lying, and doubt are deployed. These are all traits of insecurity. The ego is not secure because it knows it's not the true self. Therefore, it must protect itself when it is presenting.